Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Instantgo Tarot Odyssey. Today's read is going to be about who were you in your past lives, and is your soulmate returning in this life, and who were they to you in your past life? So we have a 3-card choice. We have Relief and Repair from the Ascended Masters, Crimson and Cuprite, and then we have Orange Agate for number 2, Vibrancy. It's such a season of vibrancy and love these summer months. I adore them. And then we have the Spirit of Isis, Triumph of the Goddess. So I'm going to let you choose, and then we're going to start to think. I was just out in my garden. I got a little dressed up today and put on a white dress. If you go over on Instagram, Sparkwist11, I usually post dailies, like when I get dressed up. I'm going to be doing a tarot, like an inside look at all my tarot decks quite soon, and also some of my favorite pieces in my wardrobe. Because I'll tell you one thing I am an absolute expert at, that is going through any kind of old consignment shops and finding gold. I found Yves Saint Laurent original pieces, Hermes bags that people just don't know the value of. I mean, ridiculous things. I can spot an original from a mile away, and so I'm like building this fun wardrobe. And my daughter sometimes like will take, oh my God, one time I found an Yves Saint Laurent velvet dinner jacket on her floor with like some paints that had the lids almost off. I was like, stroke level. I'm lucky though that I understand things are things and they're disposable and everything is temporary. That's why I don't go to, places and ever pay full prices for beautiful, beautiful pieces, because I realize, stuff is meant to be shared. And at some point too, I'm going to run contests with some of my favorite pieces of clothing and, ship them off to you guys, because I feel like I love fresh new ideas and I like to share what I have, and I'm so into this right now. And also some of my tarot decks, as I have new ones coming out, I'm going to run contests and be giving some of those away as well, because I think I'm reaching about 100 plus decks right now, and it's almost like a chore to decide what to do. I'm almost overloaded because I do love them, but the ones that I've packed away and I haven't seemed to miss are the ones that I'm going to have in the contest. So love and light to you guys. I'm going to let you start number 1, 2, and 3. So number 1, right away, I haven't even done anything. Something about the symbolism. This is definitely deep, deep in the heart of China. You have had a past life, you guys, on the Silk Road, something to do with that, something to do with the processing of the worms or the silk. So if you're really into that kind of fabrics, or the Middle East is amazing to you, here's an interesting fact. They guarded the secrets of the silkworm so closely that, people were put to death. If there was some kind of deviation or leak in information, because it was such a specialty to China at that time, and the worms were like sacred pretty much, and it was such great expense, all of this, that if anybody was engaged in any espionage or trying to, because it was known that people would try to sneak these worms out, especially I think the Dutch at one point really wanted them. So I feel like you were involved somehow in that. I feel like you were one of the people that were in the kimono, like you were really into making the silk kimonos and the fabrics. I'm seeing you dealing with the fabrics. So you were dealing with empresses and a very high level, and it's almost like you were the Jean-Paul Gaultier of the day. So because you understood the intricacy of stitch and how just delicate the fabrics were. So you were somehow involved in that. And then also in one of your next lives with the great teacher, you were a spiritual teacher. I'm seeing temples everywhere. So I feel like this is more in the aspect of Rome. And what happened was in the particular time that you were alive, you had people that were like soothsayers, and they would be out in front of the temples and they would be preaching the word of the god or goddess, that they were seeking. Usually people would just bring these fantastic offerings. It would be fruit, wine, all these things, and it was some of the spiritual teachers' jobs to emote thanks and take the offerings and bring them to the temple. I feel like that was part of your life, and this is where I'm definitely I'm going to pull I'm going to use these. I love these ghost cards for past life. I feel like they connect really beautiful messages, because I'm hearing something about your past. With the 2 of Wands right here, there were 2 of you. This is actually where you had a soulmate existent in this Roman temple with this other lover. And in fact, you were both females in this lifetime. And it was one of those things that ever since you were young, your family was always about temple life, and you grew up with this woman, and you guys just became lifelong soulmates. You were always connected, always doing things together. You were kindred spirits. You believed in, I'm hearing Hera, that this is the goddess Hera, and that you were taking the offerings, and you guys were continually in each other's company, and you just were easy, and the flow of life together and the beauty and the simplicity of where you were and what you were doing connected you on a very lovely scale. Oh yeah, look at this. You also have the Knight of Swords. So here too, I'm feeling that in this connection that somehow this tie got severed. It got severed a little prematurely. One of you lived, I believe you lived quite a bit longer, decades longer than your soulmate, due to an unfortunate accident. Oftentimes when there were sacrifices, there were accidents, and I see some kind of strange accident where her, like, whatever, what is that? There's a carotid, there's some kind of artery on your upper leg that if you cut through that, you basically can die within minutes. You just bleed out, and something had happened to that effect, and you were heartbroken, and you didn't take another lover or anything for the rest of your existence. That person was your one, and they are coming back in this lifetime. I'm going to try to get 4 months. I'm feeling a 4-month time period. Now, one other reason that I'm feeling this so closely is he or she is actually a seer. They see beyond current situations. They're actually a light worker. They are someone who has claircognizance and clairaudience. They have a lot of the clairs and a lot of extrasensory perceptions, and they're actually guided to you intuitively. They understand how to read synchronistic signs. They listen to angelic messages. They have a deep understanding of this connection, and they are actually making their way to you, which is remarkable. I love that energy. You guys were always connected for centuries, but what happens is sometimes things get misaligned, and we miss that connection. It just happens with twins, souls, everything, but not in this lifetime. So get ready in about 4 months. And again, this is for a collective. So just know that sometimes times can fluctuate for other viewers. Different things, are on different levels of realities, because people manifest what they're thinking, right? And I cannot stipulate enough that we are our thoughts. We create a blueprint in our head of how our day, our month, and our life and our love life is going to be, simply by telling ourselves with words out loud or in thoughts how we want things to occur. So if we remove fear and worry, we now only have optimism and direction and focus, right? So what do you want to direct that towards? Love, connectivity, beauty, light, all those things, okay? So that is what makes things differentiate. If we are in a positive frame of mind and we are believing of this and acting as if it's already arriving. So beautiful energy, group 1. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to press like and subscribe, and come see me over on Instagram at Sparkrist11. I do daily posts. I love to communicate with you guys through that particular modem, because I can do it quickly. I can read your messages. We can send photographs, especially if you guys are ordering custom jewelry pieces from me. We can share photos, and it's just a good stream of communication. So love and light to you guys. Fantastic energy. So now we're on to number 2, which is vibrancy. I'm already feeling something about this. I'm already hearing Russia, and this is definitely like Empress Catherine time, and because I'm seeing her huge, insane palace that now is a gigantic art gallery, and I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing you going through the halls of that. I feel that you were like in the middle nobility, and what was going on at that point was a lot of people lived in fear of poisonings. They lived in fear of, because what was happening is a lot of people wanted to be elevated in this court system. I'm going to get some more, see the wheel, 2 of Cups. Okay, yeah. This is also, your soulmate is there, and with the wheel there, what was happening in Catherine's court at this time, this is Catherine the Great, there was so much room to maneuver to become fabulously wealthy, fabulously influential, if you had the right ear and you were moving yourself closer to the queen. There were lots of resources in terms of gems and everything. Russia has always been extremely rich in gems, and lots of times so many huge treasure troves were gifted to people if they could find out espionage secrets, if anybody was plotting, all these things. So it was always kind of like a rat race, backbiting type of atmosphere. And you being in like the mid-nobility, you were very wise to this. But because you were very ethical and you were on a very high frequency and vibration for back then. You were really connected to spirit and you understood that. You actually had a soulmate that was helping you navigate these very difficult waters. And it was a male-female soul relationship. And they were also, they were quite a bit elevated in the nobility. They were in a princedom, and they would help you navigate these waters, because what happens is you were extremely beautiful in this particular lifetime, and there was so much envy that was running rife around you, because beauty was like any other kind of currency, and you could rise very quickly because of it. So you had lots of different princes and kings and other people clamoring for your attention. So what was happening with the other lesser and mid noble ladies, you had to be careful, because people did have poisons and other things, and they would do terrible things to one another to try to make you seem guilty of something you weren't. But you had this soulmate in there that was helping you and navigating you, and then by their connection, and you actually became married as well, it protected you in a way, because you were very vulnerable as, you know, a very beautiful, noble woman that other people were envious of. And whether they were higher, mid, or even lower, there was always this social navigation going on in these court systems, because people always wanted favor of the queen, always wanted favor of the higher noble families, always wanted to form a connection, and you were able to meet your soulmate this way. And you had a very honest and pure heart, and you were just really about being in nature and being with animals. And I see you painting all the time, so that may be something you do as well now. And you might be really pulled towards big gorgeous gems and jewels and sapphires and emeralds, because this court was surrounded in luxury, and I feel like the tapestries and brocades and all those things. So I feel like you have an eye for luxury as well. So that's amazing. And I feel like this soulmate is certainly coming back, because look, you have the Queen of Wands in this. You have a passion that you're reigniting. So this soulmate is going to come back into this lifetime. Lots of times there are centuries where we feel them, but somehow there's a disconnect. But now, because your frequency and your vibration of self-love, this is very important. When we have self-love, we emanate this kind of magnetism, kind of like this beacon that draws people to us, and oftentimes that higher frequency is where our soulmates can reach us. So you're doing that. You have an understanding that by thinking positively, being happy, reaching for joy, that you emanate this beautiful, lovely energy. So that is a remarkable group to love and light to you. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to press like and subscribe. And all my links are down below if you'd like a private read, if you want to go to my Etsy store and check out all my jewels. I custom make anything as well. So if you see something that's a necklace that you want made into a bracelet, I do everything really reasonably. If you go see my prices, it's not like I want people to have wonderful things at reasonable rates, because I love stones, and I definitely believe in their properties of all the crystals and stones, and I feel like everybody should be able to have a talisman out there. So get ready for your soulmate, because they are coming back in. They are drifting back in. I'm hearing in the ethers, and there'll be lots of synchronicities for you. I feel like woodland animals, again, are going to be a totem for you. Deer, rabbits, you're going to see all these kind of woodland creatures more often, or you're going to pay attention or be drawn to them more. I feel like your special numbers are 777, 222s as well. So keep an eye out for that. So beautiful energy. Now we're on to group 3, Spirit of Isis and Goddess of the Generations. Funnily enough, I'm hearing Libya and Algeria. So we are definitely on the African continent, and this is 1800s part of this. Yeah, look at this with Death and 9 of Swords. Yeah, this was a lot of this was hard living. This was at a time where, you know, life was cheap. If you were not of super high wealth and noble birth, life could be very hard on this continent. And I feel like this is also too where people were moved down to the Belgian Congo. Yeah, so there was a lot of strife and hardship. And again, you were a native to this. You were a native Algerian or Libyan. They're right next to each other, and I'm feeling that. And, you know, there were a lot of hardships. But I feel that something interesting occurred. Yeah, through hard work, you had some kind of breakthrough where you were able to travel and leave the continent. It's something, you got on a ship or something. Yeah. Okay. So let me just grab a couple more cards, because I'm definitely feeling like there was so much strife and craziness. Okay. Yeah. Actually, through a royal member of one of the French royal houses, Belgium Belgium or French royal houses, they had commissioned some people to go on some expeditions to find some things. You were actually commissioned on a boat, and that changed your life. You were quite young. You had hardships as a youngster, but this is in your early 20s, and then you set out because you were an excellent navigator. I'm hearing, yeah, fantastic navigation skills, and you also were very agile. Like, you could move in any kind of circle and go unnoticed. Because you had very specific and unique set of skills, I also feel like, yeah, you were fantastic with the movements of your body, and you actually had some of the orient skills of martial arts with you too. Yeah, see, traveler. And you spent so much of your life in your 20s through your 30s traveling all over. I feel like you were all up the Gold Coast. You actually crossed the seas over into Italy at one point. You actually had you were commissioned to bring some of this stuff. There was lots of rubber that was extricated from the Belgian Congo and all around there, and all kinds of natural resources as well as gems. And at one point you were commissioned, and you were on a boat. There was probably a Belgian or Dutch vessel too that was filled with gems, and they were brought into Italy. And I feel like you just met so many people, and it was amazing. You actually had met your, yeah, fire. Yeah, you met your fire sign. This is crazy. Yeah, and you have this amazing ancestral line of Dutch and Algerian and really really combined awesome background lineage, and it's beautiful. This is actually in your past life lineage, and oftentimes it will integrate and carry through as well, or you may have interests of those areas. But yeah, I feel like you had this fierce determination because you had an understanding of the stars, and you understood how to navigate, and you were taken out of what could have been just a death trap continually, and you were able to go to Italy, Belgium, France, all up and down the Gold Coast. You crossed over to Brazil at one point, and you got to just go everywhere. And actually your soulmate is from that lifetime. Absolutely. And I'm going to post some stuff. I'm getting so excited because the pictures are so vivid. But now what I'm hearing is how you can draw this soulmate back in is through this wonderful thing that I just heard. Instead of applying so much excitement, because when we apply excitement to something, it's saying, oh, it's something that we don't have that we need, right? A lack mentality. Oh, we don't have this perfect love. We should have the perfect love of ourselves. But what you do want to attach is a feeling of abundance, and wow, I can even add to the abundance of I have. Because guess what follows high excitement? It's a spike, right? What follows a peak? Usually, boom, a plummet down, right? So we don't want these high peaks of excitement and lows. We don't want this manic energy. We want a sense of, lovely, slowly inclining, abundant energy, and we're pulling that toward us. And the Fool always has that because they feel protected. They feel guided. They feel good. They feel a sense of knowing and belief in where things are going and how they are, where they're heading. For sure. See, yeah, you have the moon. You understood the moon, the tides, all of those things. So now our belief system in ourselves and our value, and that we're loved, and our security, and that we have what we already need, but simply combined with our soulmate is another form of beautiful essence that's arriving in our life, right? We're prepared, we're ready, we feel calm, collected, because we are our thoughts, we are our words that we tell ourselves. Again, I can't stipulate enough. When we say, of course I can do this, that's simple. I am a phenomenal, repeat after me, I am a phenomenal person who can cope with anything. Because coping skills, if you say you have phenomenal coping skills, that blankets so many things. So if you come up against an adversary or a smart ass or someone who's giving a difficult time, a boss, a family member, coping skills cover all of that. It means we can navigate that. We decide not to take on insults. We decide not to play and discuss any issues that are super low vibrational, gossip, garbage, all that stuff. If we have anybody that's dissenting or trying to bring us down, we simply don't include ourselves in that. We have our act together. We care about who we are, so we're not going to engage in any of those low vibration behaviors. And you really are in for some magical times. I feel like all this great energy is coming your way, and you're going to be enveloped in love and calmness. So love and light to you guys. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to press like and subscribe, and all my links are down below. And thank you for visiting my channel if you're new. I'm very excited you came over to say hello. And if you need a private read, come see me on Instagram as well at Sparkwist11. I do daily posts. I love to connect with people over there, and we message and chat and do all this fun stuff. And I'm going to try my best as well tonight to go live. I have really good energy. I'm in a great mood, and I really am channeling beautifully right now. So I'm looking forward to that. So love and light.